Did you know that the policies of entire countries can be influenced not by elected leaders, but by a handful of powerful corporations? These companies, operating behind the scenes, wield immense power over what we see, hear, and even the laws that govern us. The reality we experience may be curated by forces we never directly perceive. How much of our world is influenced by corporate interests rather than the well-being of society? Today, we're peeling back the layers to reveal how corporate lobbying shapes global policies, how media control influences what you know, the shadow economy that operates outside regulatory oversight, and how the future of labor is being manipulated by big tech without our knowledge. Stay with us as we uncover these hidden truths, and if you find this content enlightening, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more explorations into the unseen forces shaping our lives. Let's begin. How corporate lobbying shapes global policies. Let's begin with one of the biggest secrets of all: corporate lobbying. You might think that governments create laws and policies to serve the people, but in reality, much of what becomes law is heavily influenced by corporate lobbyists. These lobbyists have immense power, and they spend billions of dollars every year to sway politicians, ensuring that the interests they represent, typically those of the wealthiest corporations, are prioritized. Consider this. In the United States alone, corporate lobbying expenditures have exceeded $3 billion per year. This isn't just an American phenomenon. Corporate influence shapes policy worldwide. For instance, multinational oil companies have worked tirelessly to lobby against environmental policies in numerous countries, delaying crucial climate action that could make a difference in reducing global warming. The interests they represent are about preserving profit margins, often at the expense of public safety and planetary health. Corporate lobbying isn't limited to the environment. Healthcare policies, trade agreements, labor rights, all of these are susceptible to lobbying. Pharmaceutical giants, for example, have successfully lobbied to keep drug prices high, despite the overwhelming need for affordable medicine. And when it comes to trade agreements, many corporations push for policies that reduce tariffs and regulations, giving them easier access to new markets, even when these policies might hurt local businesses. The problem is that these deals happen behind closed doors. Most of us have no idea that our elected representatives are being influenced by powerful, profit-driven corporations. We believe that democracy means representation for the people, but when corporate interests enter the picture, the voice of the people often becomes drowned out by the sound of money. The media and information control, controlling the narrative. Next, let's discuss how corporations control the media and, by extension, control what we see and hear. If you think the news you consume is unbiased, think again. Many of the media outlets we trust are owned by a handful of powerful corporations. In fact, 6 major conglomerates own roughly 90% of the media in the United States, which means that a very small number of individuals have control over what information reaches millions of people. But why does this matter? It matters because these corporations have their own agendas. They have financial interests, political affiliations, and partnerships they want to protect. When the owners of media outlets have vested interests, the content produced is often aligned with those interests, whether consciously or unconsciously. This means that the news stories that reach us are filtered by what aligns with corporate goals, by what will generate profit, and by what will not upset powerful partners. For example, a company that owns a media outlet and also has stakes in the oil industry might not be inclined to report on climate change in a way that is damaging to their bottom line. Negative stories are downplayed, or positive spins are put on otherwise damaging facts. Meanwhile, narratives that align with corporate goals are pushed forward, shaping how we perceive issues ranging from politics to public health to the economy. This influence over the media doesn't just affect what we know, it affects how we think. The media shapes public perception, and public perception, in turn, influences societal behavior. When corporations control both the information we receive and the platforms through which we receive it, they have the power to shape reality itself. The shadow economy. Now, let's lift the curtain on the shadow economy of corporate influence. We like to think that corporations are regulated, that there are checks and balances to ensure that they operate within the rules. But there's an entire network of corporate activities that evades public scrutiny, a shadow economy that allows powerful companies to operate outside the laws that govern the rest of us. Offshore tax havens are a key tool in this shadow economy. Major corporations funnel their profits into countries with minimal tax requirements, effectively avoiding billions in taxes that could have gone toward funding public services. This practice is widespread, from tech giants to fashion brands to the oil industry. But it's not just about avoiding taxes, it's also about avoiding accountability. Beyond tax evasion, there are hidden investments, backdoor deals, and political contributions that allow corporations to exert control away from the public eye. Regulatory capture, where companies effectively take control of the bodies meant to regulate them, is one example of how corporate influence permeates the regulatory process. Consider the financial crisis of 2008. Many of the decisions that led to the collapse of global markets were made in the shadow economy, with risky investments, obscure financial products, and unchecked greed. When the system failed, it wasn't the corporations that suffered. It was ordinary people who lost their homes, their savings, and their jobs. AI and automation, control over the future of labor. Finally, let's talk about the future of work and how it's being shaped by a select few powerful corporations. Artificial intelligence and automation have incredible potential, and we're seeing them applied across industries, from manufacturing to customer service to medicine. But who controls these technologies, and how are they being applied? The answer is that a handful of big tech companies are leading the development of AI, and in doing so, they're determining the future of labor. Automation has the potential to replace millions of jobs, especially those involving repetitive tasks. But these decisions aren't being made with workers in mind. They're being made to reduce labor costs and increase profit margins. For instance, automated cashier systems in retail stores might be more efficient and cheaper for companies, but they also eliminate jobs for thousands of people. And the decisions about where to implement automation often prioritize cost saving, not what's best for society or the workforce. The reality is that these corporations are deciding which skills will be valuable in the future, and they're not necessarily making those decisions in a way that benefits workers. What happens to those who are displaced? Will these same corporations invest in retraining programs, or will they leave workers behind in the pursuit of profit? If the power to shape the future of labor is concentrated in the hands of a few corporations, could we be moving toward a world where work is no longer a source of fulfillment for most people? Will wealth and opportunity be concentrated in the hands of those who control technology, while the rest are left with fewer and fewer options? Corporate power runs deeper than we often realize. From lobbying that influences the policies governing our world, to media control that shapes our perception, to hidden operations in the shadow economy, and finally, to the future of work through AI and automation. These companies wield an influence that is almost impossible to comprehend. If this exploration has opened your eyes, please like this video and subscribe so you don't miss part 2, where we'll dive even deeper into the ways these corporations influence our health, our food, and even the future of our planet. Stay tuned, and remember, knowledge is power. Together, we can shine a light on these hidden systems,